What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, it's official. Lying, crying, Jim Ryan, the hypocrite, has gone mainstream. Mainstream media. Now, I was listening to Rebel FM, which is a show that I listen to every week because I like Anthony Gallegos. I like Anthony Gallegos. Arthur Geese is alright, and Matt Chandronay, he's cool too. But it's mainly for the dulcet tones of one Tony Gallegos. Anyway, they were going on. The last 5-10 minutes of that show was about Sony crying, or the hypocrisy of Sony, what they're doing. And I mean, it's basically everything I've been saying. The little known, nobody YouTuber says these things, but when the mainstream, now they have press accounts or whatever, and they're not in the media as they were before. You know, Anthony is a dev, Arthur works for Wirecutter, I believe, and Matt Chandronay does his own video production. He has his own video production company. So Matt Chandronay particularly is kind of in the business more. So, you know, he has to deal with Sony. He does jobs for Sony, but that's video editing. That's, shooting and editing like commercials and such. But they went on, I wouldn't call it a rant, but it was just like a state the facts, basically. So, Arthur was like, yo, Sony is afraid. He said scared many times. Scared, maybe 4 times, 5 times. And it was just basically saying that, same thing I was saying, that they're scared that Microsoft will do what they have been doing for the past 20 years or so. And then he went on a list about like rumors of like the stuff that they did, like not even like now recently in this generation, but past generations, where they tried to keep Grand Theft Auto off of Xbox. Remember, Xbox, the original Xbox, never got Grand Theft Auto. It only came to the 360 when Peter Moore was in town. You know what I'm saying? When Peter Moore, British dude Peter Moore, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And then I forget the other instances he said, but Sony's had a long history of doing this. And they've gotten away with it for years because of the way the industry, the business model of the industry was. I say was because it has changed. Thank you, Netflix. Netflix has changed the game. It's funny how a tertiary industry, I would say a parallel, but not exactly the same industry. It's entertainment, digitally, whatever. But that industry, the movie, the home video industry, was changed by Netflix, and it was changed by Blockbuster's short-sightedness. Now, I've made the comparison of Blockbusters to Sony a lot. I would say not Sony per se, but PlayStation, the PlayStation business, in that they're doing the old antiquated dinosaur move, while Netflix, Blockbuster was doing that while Netflix was, making moves, going to streaming. I won't say they were the first, but they were on the ground floor of the revolution. And Microsoft saw that. It's like, certain companies will look at the world of business, and they'll look at certain sectors and certain applications and say, okay, this thing was super highly successful. Can we apply any of that to our business to be super successful? Sony's not doing that. Sony's like, what's super successful? Let's make that too. Now, some may say, oh, you just said the same thing. I'm gonna say, no, I didn't, because here's the difference. Microsoft said Netflix is a successful business strategy, right? And they took that and they tweaked it and they did all the things that they needed to do to make Game Pass not an equal to, but an analog, if you will. And so Sony, what they do is they say, oh, that thing is selling a lot. Let's make one too, like VR, the first VR, PlayStation VR. They saw what, the Oculus Drift was doing. They saw all these things like, oh shoot, we should get on the ground level with that, which isn't a bad move, but it didn't work out. And what the funny thing is, Sony should be where Apple is as far as like, they should have been the one to do iPods, but Apple stole that from them. Apple stole the digital MP3 player industry from Sony. Sony was set up to be the ones because they had the Walkman, they had the Discman, both super popular. The next step is the MP3 men. I don't know what they would have called it, just Walkman Digital or something, whatever. I don't know what they did call it because they made a product, but it was too late. Just like Zune, that was too late for Microsoft. Everybody's trying to be in there too late, and that's what's happening now. Sony is too late on the Game Pass games as service type of, well, I wouldn't say they're too late for the games as service type of thing, because any new games as service can pop up and be, the move. It could be the next new game, right? I keep saying it. I don't think Sony has it in them to do a games as service because they don't have the studio to make a games as service game that will be a new Fortnite, that will be a new Apex Legends, let's just say, or even Roblox, or even Minecraft. I'm not saying Call of Duty, because Call of Duty, while it does have the games as service, it's a little bit different. It's bigger. It's more than just that. And even though Sony has Bungie hasn't made that game. I mean, they have Destiny, right? But Destiny is not as big as Fortnite. Not even close. Not as big as Minecraft. Not even close. So, and it took them years to get there. Destiny was not, it's an overnight success. No. It took a long time. So I don't have faith that they can do all the things they need to do to make a games as service game. I'm talking about Bungie for Sony. That will, the problem I think is that Sony needs to invest into the long term with this games as service movement that they're doing. I don't think they can do. They have shown in the past that they do not want a long-term investment. Even the PlayStation VR, right? PlayStation VR, the first one. It was cool, but it was short-sighted because they had bespoke APIs, and that's why the PSVR 2 is not backwards compatible, because it's too hard. PSVR original is suffering the same fate that PlayStation 3 and all its content suffered, because for some reason Sony feels like they need to make a bespoke, super difficult thing that's not compatible with anything else. For what? For protect, so people won't steal your games? Are they still on that? Probably, because they're still on a lot of old ideas and not technologies, but it's funny to me. And the moves that they're making this generation, it's spreading, like I was saying before in the beginning. It's spreading to different medias. It's spreading to different content creators on, let's say, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Like Destin Legary. He put up like 2 or 3 videos about how Sony is bad, anti-consumer, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I keep seeing more and more. And these are mainstream guys. These aren't guys like, I love Xbox or whatever. I mean, I guess Destin kind of leans toward Xbox, but he's an IGN employee. So, he is on the XCast though. So, the Xbox podcast. So, sure. But still, he can't afford to be, that's his own actual personal podcast. His show on YouTube. So, I don't know how they do that, actually. I don't know how that works out. Like, I guess he has a clause in his contract with IGN saying, I can do my own podcast, right? Blah, blah, blah. Sure. As long as you don't say nothing stupid and get in trouble. Okay. I don't know. But anyway, it's the word is getting out. This is what's happening. And I was gonna say, if Sony gets the reputation of being a certain way, and I stopped the thought before I even said it, and I thought to myself just now, I think it's too late. I think Sony already has that reputation of being anti-consumer. I think Sony already has that reputation of not caring about the player. And you keep hearing it. You hear it from Game On Daily, those guys. They love Xbox, so, I like them too. They're funny. But, you got Game On Daily. And then look on the other side, right? Look on the side of the wall. Look on the other side of the river, whatever you want to, analogy you want to put there. You look at the PlayStation fanboys, and they are losing their minds. They don't know how to deal with this. They don't know how to deal with the fact and the truth that PlayStation is smacking their members all up and down their faces, boom, right on your forehead. You know what I'm saying? It's disrespectful to the PlayStation gamers, and they know it's not right. And when Jim Ryan says, "Oh, you don't care about the gamers," they're like, "Wait, did Jim Ryan say that? Really?" And they're so much in denial. MBG put out a video, and he called, I think he called Game Pass gamers. He called them some kind of name. I forgot what it was. It wasn't a nice thing to say, basically. And it sounded like hate speech almost. It wasn't, obviously, but I was like, only a person who's been hurt by their lover will speak that way. So I'm like, wow, these fanboys are just falling apart at the seams. I will predict that many of them will turn into PC players, because if this continues, I don't see Jim Ryan past this generation, because the profits are going to go down. I touched on this before. The profits are going to go down for the PlayStation brand. I think did their stock go down, or whose stock went down? No. It was Rockstar. I'm sorry, I'm conflating. It was Rockstar because of the leak stuff. Their stock went down like 2%, or there's a little bitty bit. But yeah, I don't see Jim Ryan there long term. And I was thinking about this today, that Jim Ryan, to me anyway, seems like the worst PlayStation CEO in the history of PlayStation. PlayStation's been around since 95, 4 or 5? When did the first PlayStation? I think it was 95, right? 94, 95, I can't remember. But they have had, like, I forget who, Kazurai has been there forever. He was cool. Giant Enemy Crab, Ridge Racer. What's his name? I forget. Jack Trenton. He was, I think, the best. Jack Trenton was the best. Charismatic, nice huggable guy type of, like, hey, he's like my Uncle Jack. Hey, Uncle Jack, how you doing? I was looking at him, I was like, you know what? I don't have a problem with Jack. Jack's cool. He's alright. And then the guy after him, Sean Layden, was cool, and then there was another guy between them. I can't remember his name. He's a British guy. But yeah, Jim Ryan is the worst. People compare him to Don Matrick of the 360. The Xbox. Yeah, Xbox 360 era. No, I think Jim Ryan's worse. He's making many of the same, not the same mistakes. He's making many mistakes that you would say, okay, yeah, I can see Don Matrick making that mistake. That feels like a Don Matrick move, a Don Matrickism. Don't Don Matrick it up too late. He Don Matrick it. Now it's the don't Jim Ryan it. And yeah, if I'm wrong, let me know if there was a worse. I don't think there was a worse CEO of PlayStation, not Sony, but PlayStation in particular. I think he's the worst so far as public perception, his statements, his accusations, what he's been saying lately, crying to the CMA, and that whole thing with the CMA, how the press release and the verbiage that the CMA put out is so closely like what Jim Ryan was talking about to Brazilian board, leads me to believe that he got hookups in the CMA, cut and paste, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how that works. I don't know if he could bribe somebody at the CMA and cause problems for the deal to go through. Now, I was listening to Rebel FM, and they were saying, I think that Microsoft would rather drop support from the UK for Xbox altogether, or Call of Duty, whatever, then let this deal go. Let this deal not go through. So if it were, and I was like, I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, if I understand that, meaning they would drop support. Now, I don't know if they would say drop support for Xbox in total or just for Call of Duty, which would make more sense. So they say, yeah, you know what? Y'all will be in DX. So guess what? Your UK don't get no Call of Duty. See you later. I think that they would do that. Now, honestly, I'm gonna say they wouldn't do that. But if it was a choice between dropping Call of Duty for the UK to get this deal through, they getting the deal through, because it's not just about Call of Duty, and that's what the fanboys are mistaken about, and that's what Sony is so dumb. I'm like, look, this dude Jim Ryan has billed gazillions of dollars. I would say more than six figure, hundreds of millions of dollars he's probably worth. Way smarter than me because he has more money. That's not necessarily true all the time, but still. He is more privileged than I am. And that's why how he's approaching this whole situation infuriates me, because I'm like, really, you couldn't have articulated words better. You couldn't have been more articulate in how you said the things that you said. Put your point across than what you said. Accusing Microsoft of being, being bad for the kids back in the day. I'm like, yo, that was the first sign of like Jim Ryan is on something else. Like, what is he talking about? So yeah, he's a bad CEO. Bad look for the company. If I was a Sony fan, I would be highly upset. I'd be highly infuriated with what's going on over there at Sony. And that's what's happening. You look at MBG, his last video, he's cursing out, Xbox, Game Pass players, because, and the whole narrative about, you Xbox Game Pass players don't want to support the devs. Y'all are stupid. I wish that Chris Charla would ring my phone, bling-a-gang. Hey, we want to give you some blink blank blinkety blank blank bucks for your game. I'll be like, hold on, let me tell the other guys. Xbox, they're trying to pay us money, a lot of monies, a lot more monies than we have now. Yes, a lot. Yes, it's a lot of money. No, I mean, there's some points and stuff involved. Of course, it's a contract, but they're gonna give us this much up front, though. Yeah. We gonna get that. We're gonna split it how we split it. You know how it is, right? Okay, yeah, that's a yes. Okay. I'm just making sure it's a yes, because I'm trying to make sure all this money you want the money. That's okay. You want the money? Okay. All right. Talk to me later. Click. Dude, I wish Xbox would say, yo, we want your game. Here's the dollars. Bullet ding. I'd be like, woo-hoo. That's called supporting the devs. Come on, son. If you're an indie dev and you self-publishing, that's what's up. If I was a single dev making a game, and Xbox say, yeah, we'll give you $40,000 for your game, real quick. Plus, you get this amount of points per play. And then after 6 months, a year, you could put it for sale in other places, or you could put it for sale right away, but it'll be in Game Pass, or whatever. There's all kind of different deals, all kind of different flavors over there. So, what that whole narrative is broken, busted. They try to put these different narratives into play, and then they realize, oh shoot, that's not working. Let's try something else. Right now, they're at the point where none of the narratives work, so they're getting mad and they're starting to call people names and stuff. They've been making fun of Game Pass players, but everybody who plays Game Pass knows that it's so good. So, but yeah, the whole narrative that Jim Ryan is trying to put out there, where it's like, oh, we can't compete with Game Pass. It's like, what are you talking about? You said that you were putting out a Game Pass competitor, redoing PS Plus. So you're full of. That's why we call him lying, crying. Jim Ryan, the hypocrite. I put the hypocrite at the end because it's, that's his full title. He was knighted that. Sir Lion Ryan Crying. Sir Lion Crying Ryan Jim. I just messed it up. Sir Lion Crying Jim Ryan, the hypocrite. That's a good title. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about Jim Ryan in general. Is he up to snuff? How long does he have left there? Are the Japanese overlords gonna take too much more of his foolishness, or are they just looking at the numbers and saying, "Yep, he produces the numbers, so whatever, we don't care."